Hello, everybody. It's Linda Light. I know I haven't been on as much lately, but I've been going through my own process. And one of the things that I think a lot of people are going through, at least it feels that way for me anyway, is there's a lot of confusing information out there. So how do you discern when you have one person saying or multiple people saying, okay, um, there's every race has its own thing. Like not one or another can be bad. Like the whole race is bad or good. I mean, that's polarization, right? Then you have other people that are saying there's, good and bad apples in every bunch. So, I mean, I'd like to just apply the same logic because everybody's entitled to their own opinions based on their own experience. But I'd like to apply that same logic to humanity as a species. And we know that you can't label our entire collective of humanity as good or bad. So that's just falling back into duality, and that is based in fear. So what I would like to say is just use your discernment, and only you can really, there's a part of this journey that you're really just going to need, and you might not want to hear this, but you're going to need to go it alone. You may have a lot of people on the outside that you're going to for information because you just want that extra connection or you want that extra level of validation, but you're still looking on the outside if you're doing that. So my best advice is to just spend some time with yourself. And really, you can only trust what's going on in here. You may know when you're getting sucked into drama. You may be very well aware and trying to hold your center. And sometimes it really feels like, like imagine that guy hanging onto the helicopter with one hand. It really feels like you're hanging on for dear life just to maintain, a center of gravity. I just went through an experience last night, and it was uh, crazy, for lack of better words, to describe what was going on in the drama that was around and in my life that, I agreed to put myself in. And holding on to that center was really, really challenging. So I know a lot of people are going through that too. And I just wanted to come on here to say this morning I had my morning meditation and connection. And I actually asked for a small miracle for something else, and I got it. So, you have to ask if you want something, but you don't just ask with here. You really got to feel it. You got to make that connection. Even if you think you're imagining it, just imagine it then. And know your power. Know you claimed your free will, you claimed your sovereignty. So know your power. Don't demand, just command. Okay? That's my new mantra for the day is don't demand, just command. And it worked great. So anyhow, I asked for something, and when I started this YouTube channel, my soul, my spirit, my highest, essence was just coming in and channeling poetry. And when I asked for this morning, she started, or it started singing in verse, and it just was so beautiful. So I'm going to share that. Trust what is within your heart. Trust that you do play a part of all that is within the plan. Divine timing takes a stand. You claimed free will and sovereignty, a blessing for eternity. Everything that's going on is unique, your soul's own song. It guides you throughout every day. Protection granted, come what may. Listen close and you will hear what's coming now, so do not fear. Walk your path and open more. Give your love and then adore. All of the experience, the tears, the pain, the confinements that brought you to this very day. The light you shine, it's time to play. Gratitude for lessons learned will bring the peace that you have earned. So trust what you have all been through. There's reasons you forgot you knew. So I think the ultimate message, my ultimate takeaway message from that, and what I needed to hear was that and I'm practicing what I preach, but sometimes there's a little delay in that. So I think the real ultimate message in this one was be grateful for all of it. Everything that you forgot when you incarnated in this life has been agreed upon. And trust, first of all, if you have that fear-based and you think that there's blocks or implants or things that are stopping you, if something was done against your free will and sovereignty, and there was something manipulated against your highest soul's plan, then really and ultimately there are like rules of engagement, and there would be a way for you to dissolve or get out of. Your soul is not going to leave you high and dry, and you will get exactly what you need with the universal laws in play, with your divine sovereignty and free will in play. You will get exactly what you agreed to on higher levels that you forgot you really knew, and you have. So trust that you are protected. Don't react from fear. Try to stay centered and balanced through your day, giving the best parts of you. Don't worry. Don't plan ahead the what ifs. I'm guilty of that myself. I'm working on that one myself. As you can see, the boxes behind me and all around, I'm going to be moving in about 2 weeks. So we're really excited. It's a little stressful, but I had done the Marie Kondo thing, so packing was a little bit more easy, but it's still a stressful thing, and it can be emotional. So I'm just going to be taking this ride and trying to enjoy every bit of the experience, because the universe sets you up to be exactly where you need to be. And I really believe that the place that I'm moving into, my next door neighbor would have been somebody that just moved out in April, and it's a person that I knew from my past that I look at like it wouldn't have been a good thing if we were next door neighbors, obviously, or that person would still be there and we would have been right next door to each other. So everything has a way of working out for the best, and you got to just trust that and really trust within. You're not going to find that validation on the outside if you keep seeking it. So really, when you say, who do I believe if this light worker who's gifted and good is saying this, but that doesn't resonate? Well, trust that it doesn't resonate. If this person, and this person's saying this other person's saying the exact opposite of that. There's so much disinformation, and it's meant to confuse you. The key is going to be, can you walk amongst all of that confusion and still remain grounded, centered, and trusting, knowing that the universe does have your back? And I know it doesn't feel like that at times, especially when you have less than $4 in your bank account and you don't know how it's going to work. There is always that inner trust, because we're moving out of money. Remember, we're moving out of the currency. A lot of people, you try to figure it out and how it's going to work and all that. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. Rome wasn't built in a day, they say. That's a great example. So some things can happen quickly, or what appears to be overnight. Miracles can manifest. They work through all of us. We are part of that too. You may tip somebody a little extra because you're feeling generous, or maybe not even feeling generous, but you just have a quick flash of just give them a little more. So you might give an extra tip that might seem ridiculous to other people. Why would you do that when you're struggling too? Well, because it resonated. Something flashed. There was a claircognizance moment where you just knew, and you can't explain it, but if you try to unpack that knowing, you might dig deeper into it and find that, well, maybe that person, and you might do the what ifs and the maybes, but here you go. If you start unpacking all of it instead of just trusting it's an instant. Trusting it is just like that. But if you try to unpack that, you get into the what ifs. Okay, let's play the game then. If you want to go there, what if that person was negative in their bank account and they were about to lose their house, but they needed that money to, put food on the table? Or they're really hungry and they didn't know they weren't going to be paid for a couple of days, paycheck to paycheck, right? So sometimes you just get a feeling to do something and you do it. You don't question, you just trust, because it feels so good when that feeling comes in. How can you miss that it resonates? What we tend to do is say, well, what about me? Yes, you have to take care of yourself first. So I'm not trying to go against that. But if you get a knowing and you feel secure and safe enough to follow and trust that guidance in that instant that you get it without questioning. Without questioning, meaning the feeling comes in, it feels right, it feels good, it makes you happy, your soul sings, it feels like a quick joyful moment of what that action would do, and it just energetically feels right. It resonates in your heart. And when that happens, that's what you trust. That's part of going with the flow. And you might doubt yourself later. That's okay. That's part of the process too. But we're all learning how to get in that trust and to just follow what feels right, that inner knowing. And this is the part, if you listen to somebody on the outside, they might tell you, why did you do that? Or maybe this wasn't meant to be. Well, they weren't in that process because that wasn't for them to do. That action was for you. Whatever your actions are, you need to trust your inner knowing. And that's where we're at now, because that is the personal experience that every single person on this planet has to reckon with. Is that the right, has to go through, it's the part of the journey where you're alone. And if you hear this and that provokes or evokes or triggers any type of fear, any type of fear, it's because you probably have been focusing more than 50% of your time, looking on the outside for that validation instead of trusting the inner knowings. So it might just be time to try to take that lens and flip it around. Once again, this message is wonderful for me. It's exactly where I need to be right now. And if I don't come back for a little while, I just want to thank you all for being here, for being part of my journey, and all your wonderful supportive comments, your loving kindness for what you're doing on your path. And I just wanted to say I love you guys, and have a wonderful, wonderful, blessed day. Really good things are just on the horizon. So hang tight and do your best to just make a difference in your day, in your reality, where you're at right now. You can do it. Love you guys. Peace.